Nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Good morning. Happy Monday, August the 26th. I don't know where the month has gone, but most kids are back in school. I know there's a few states that don't start. So back to school Monday, and parents, it's the most happy, rejoiceful time of the year for you. I remember those days so well. And so happy learning to all those kids out there, and go ahead and party like a rock star now, parents. Go ahead and take your day spas and go to the beach and just relax. Have yourself a margarita on the beach. You made it through the summer. Yay. Yes, I do remember those. And it's an acceptance. Everybody accepts you to do it. So just go ahead and do it. So that is our today. Today, we're going to talk about acceptance. What does acceptance mean? Why is it important for acceptance? Is acceptance part of judgment? Is it part of our ego, of our conditioned mind? Where did we learn that? So this is going to be the topic today, because there's a lot of hurt people right now being accepted, being not accepted. People had to try out in the bands, and the kids had to try out in cheerleading, and they didn't get accepted. And then I know when my kids went to school, they would come home, and some of the teachers were in the movement that everybody gets a trophy. I didn't come from that. Era. And then there was other people who were like, okay, well, you might have to work hard. I have a fan blowing today because I'm a little warm. So if you see my hair flying, it's because I have a fan going on. But there's still those teachers out there who earn it, right? The more you read, the more you learn, the more you learn, the more you earn. Isn't that how it used to go? So that's kind of part of the acceptance, or the acceptance of moving forward in a dynamic, maybe in sports, maybe the dynamic of in the military, you wanted something, but you weren't there. Is it because of our IQ levels? Is it because of our educational levels? Is it because of how we learn, when we learn? All of this is great. All of this is, easy peasy, and it comes with, the territory of learning and living life. And we have to have these stumbling blocks, and we have to be in those blocks where we can learn these patterns, and we are subject to patterns by, that's right, man's judgment, man's ego, and man's conscious. So we have to flip some of these old patterns, which is why we're here, right? The conscious positive way. And we can flip them to understand a little bit more. So today, what I want to do is we're going to start out, and we're going to read about, I'm not going to pick on Webster. I got a lot of backlash last time. So we're going to pick on Oxford today. So Oxford Dictionary in my handy dandy internet, right? It says acceptance. It's the action of consenting to receive or undertake something offered. The other explanation is it's the action or process of being received as adequate or suitable, typically to be admitted into a group. A group. Is that like the clique? The clique? I don't know. I heard that phrase growing up a lot. Are you in the clique? I heard it in the fishing industry. I heard it in, my nephew. It's all in who you know. Somebody said that to me. Where was I? Oh, the real estate market. Yeah, just now in the real estate market. They tried to tell me in West Virginia, well, we don't know that realtor, but let me get you another realtor. Since, sometimes it's the realtor and how long and who's in that circle. Acceptance again. There's a lot of judgment about acceptance. So where did acceptance start? Unfortunately, acceptance started by man in our egos and our judgments by conditioned patterns of our ancestors, right? It was acceptance to bludgeon the firstborn male of every family back in Egypt time. Well, thank God that one's gone, right? It was accepted to throw our virgin child into the volcano to stop the volcano from erupting. Well, that one's gone. But they were all accepted into the colony. They were all accepted into history. To honor what our history taught us to move forward. I'll guarantee you there's people still out there as parents. Why? Parents, and I'm guilty of it too. Parents want the best for their child. So of course, what are the parents going to do? Yeah, you're not dating him. Oh, no, I'm not sure you're going to be allowed to go over to that house. Nope, I'm not. Why? Because there was something that the energy didn't click, or there was something that they must have been doing maybe not appropriate for society and somebody's judgment. I don't know. But who are we to judge, right, Christians? That is, thou shalt not judge. That's in your Bibles. It's in the Quran about judging others. It's in the Kabbalah. It's a lot, right? So if we're going to follow religions, we got to honor. Who are you judging? And it's all the time. Just turn on the news. Judgment, 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 judgment. It's all over. So who's to blame for this? Is there a blame? Or is it just, thank you, I've learned my lesson and now I can flip it? Because if I don't judge myself and I accept who I am for myself, do I really care what other people think of me? And if I do, why? Why would I accept their judgment upon me? These are points to ponder. And these pondering, it could get very deep. It could get very deep even into our heart chakras or into our solar plexus, where this came from. So, and I told her I was going to say it. One of my beautiful dear friends, we've been living together for about a year. She happened to call me this morning, and I was putting makeup on, and I had my hair like all the way up and putting the makeup. Yeah, really. Yeah, wardrobe. Come on, Jewel, where's my wardrobe? Wardrobe and makeup. But I sat there brushing my teeth. But anyhow, and she calls. And I said, look at this batshit crazy girl. She misses you. And she turned around and she goes, just be that free person you want to be. Just be that person. That's what you wanted. That's what you're doing. I said, don't tempt. I'm going to strip naked and roll down the knoll here real soon. She goes, I dare you. I said, oh, don't you dare me. I said, I don't care about being accepted. She goes, who knows? Maybe I'll come. And I said, look, it's all about being accepted. Don't have to accept us how we are. If we feel the need to be our Julie, so who cares? And she starts laughing. I said, I'm going to use it. Her name is Diana Khan. So I told her I was going to use her. But I also have other friends they're having a hard time accepting that I'm no longer in Miami. And my heart feels for them. My heart does. But in the aspect of others, it is crazy. And as soon as we do, we're going to come back in, and then we're going to continue the acceptance. We'll be right back. You're listening to MBRradio.us. We're on Roku, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, Rumble, you name it, we're on it. My name's MJ. My show on MBR is called The World of Conscious Positivity, and today we're talking about acceptance. So let's go to commercial. We'll be right back.
The first plane hit the other tower right after I came in. It left a fiery gaping hole where officers had been. We stood and watched in horror as we saw the first ones fall. Then someone yelled, "Get out, get out, they're trying to kill us all." I grabbed the pictures from my desk and joined the flight for life. With every step I called the name of my children and my wife. And then we heard them coming up from several floors below. A crowd of firefighters with their heavy gear in tow. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. And when we met them on the stairs, they said we were too slow. Get out, they yelled at us, the whole thing's gonna go. They didn't have to tell us twice, we'd seen the world on fire. We kept on running down the stairs while they kept climbing high. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. Thank God we made it to the street. We ran through ash and smoke. I could not see which way to run. I thought that I would choke. A fireman grabbed me by the arm and pointed me uptown. Then Christ, I heard him whisper as the tower came crashing down. So now I go to funerals for men I never knew. The pipers play Amazing Grace as the coffins come in view. They must have seen it coming as they turned to face the fire. They sent us down to safety and they kept on climbing higher. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
How are we? There's my friend Joel. How's it going, Joel?
It's okay. I'm a little rusty. What can I say?
He's trying to rescue my Wi-Fi. I can't. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Because I can't. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. So we're talking about acceptance. Let's get back. So when I tell you it starts as an ancestral line first, right? Because our parents, like myself, we're taught different ways to go around, whether it's to don't associate with that group of kids, whether it is to, you know, they have an image that they want to enforce within us. And they were a tribute to that as well by their parents. And imagine, so this ancestral line gets deeper and deeper. Right, wrong, and different. It is how we were conditioned. And then when we start to learn about this and we start to understand that it's back inside of our deep, deep conditioned belief patterns, we have to step back. I have a friend who, when you go through a process of stepping into spirituality, especially 369 Light Code, you get these different levels. And as you climb and you drop these levels and these curtains drop, and you constantly are more in a positive conscious mind frame, not to be argumentative, whether to balance and just step back and understand a balance or an interpretation or how we're going to process what somebody said. We start to lose a lot of friends near us because their egos and judgments aren't there to accept who we're becoming. So when people say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And it works beautifully because the old dogs just need to understand a conscious, positive way of thinking instead of a paradigm. And here you go. I mean, truly, this is what's going on with a lot of our, our governments and our county governments, and how we are being established and being forced, not even having an acceptance, being forced into doing things we don't want to do. And it just doesn't even make sense to some of us, going, this is so stupid, why am I doing this? Right? Because they're getting to that consciousness going, wait a minute, am I living in a socialist? Why am I having this order? One of them is like when I was living in Miami or Homestead, that area, Redlands, right? I got fined because I put my garbage out. I was going to be away. So we left Sunday. I put my garbage can to the curb. Now I live in rural Redland in Miami. I don't even live like major. The only people going down my streets because they live there. Put my garbage can out. Well, it must have upset one of my neighbors who moved in from the city, and I got a fine because my garbage can was left out. Acceptance. Here we go. Before I was healed, I got really angry. Now I look at that and I laugh and I go, wow, if that garbage can really bothered you that much, that garbage can, and it wasn't tipped upside down, it was just there, because who wants their garbage with then the heat and all the freaking flies? Now you have maggots. Who wants that? So of course I didn't. So we put it out there. 5 days later, we come home on the Friday, and there it is. I got fined because my garbage can was at the street. I accepted the rules. I did. But I don't accept the punishment because they had no idea what was going on in my life. So there's the balance, right? How do you accept? Well, you accept because you have to understand what people are going through. You can't be closed-minded and just say, nope, this is what I think. No, this is where you got to balance. You got to come. There's that cup, right? There's that cup of love. There it is. And it just flows together. And if I feel this side and you feel this side, it is a full cup of love. There's the acceptance. But here we go. But MJ, the acceptance, right? Cheerleaders, football players being accepted into groups, getting into the clique, getting into why? Now, I do understand that there are some groups out there or schoolings out there where you have to have the mechanics or you wouldn't even understand. You wouldn't even be able to understand coming into, let's just say, you're in Algebra 101. Old dogs can be taught new tricks. Yes, they can, Ken. Yes, they can, Red. Yes, we are old dogs and we all learn. And we all learn to be very positive in life and fulfill those obligations. Yes, we do. Thank you. And it is just becoming an awareness. And the awareness then becomes the acceptance of that awareness, right? We are aware that today is going to be empathy. So empathy plays a hard part because in most people who have empathy, you are subjugated to feel those emotions. So if somebody feels like they've been stabbed in the back, if you are an empathetic person, you feel that backstab. Is that bad or good? Right? It's great that you're feeling them. But now we need to move. We need to move one more. We need to move into clairsentient, which is God's gift of saying, I feel you, but I don't within me, right? That's where that is as far as having empathy. So empathy plays a very major part in all acceptances. Because you have to understand that balance. You can tell people, I understand. And the proverbial person who has a lot of ego goes, you can't possibly understand. Right? What's that, Top Gun? A Few Good Men, right? You gotta know. You can't handle the truth. Well, who says I can't? Who says I can't handle that? Who says I can't? Can't is one of those words, right? We talked about that in another episode. We're not going to use that because we can. The voices we can, and we always can because we are just beautiful that way. We are beings of multitude dimensions and a multitude at the same time. And that acceptance creates us a higher vibration, and that higher vibration leads us to a higher light right into Father, Mother, God. Because the more that we don't have to proclaim anger or resentment or they upset me, that means you've allowed and you accepted that energy. Does that make sense to you? You've allowed the energies to actually not fulfill itself. So those energies now, you're like, I don't like it. And now you're going to get mad because whatever they're doing or whatever they're saying, you're accepting it. And now you don't like it. So now where is it in our body? Where is it in our soul? Where is it that we are pushing back on that energy because it made us angry, sad, hurt, emotional, right? If we were healed, then we've already accepted who they are. And we know that that's their energy. Just push it back. Oh, I understand you. How about we flip it? How about we turn it around? How about you can't? Yes, you can. We can always flip it around. We always have the opportunity. But our egos that are conditioned into acceptance of man's judgment, then there it is. So, is that a phone call?
I thought it was going to be a phone call, but it's not.
Come on in.
Call. It was a VA calling me, so they definitely use the wrong number.
Well, the VA is probably like, hey, I need to talk to you, lady. We need to flip some of these patterns. It's all good. So going back, how do we flip it? We step back. Are we angry? Tap it out, breathe. We learn this technique. Did I accept this fully from myself? if I didn't, where in this dynamic, in this beautiful body, and this metaphysical soul that God gave me, where's that pattern? Where's that flip? Why do I feel this way? Have I accepted old patterns and old belief systems that no longer exist today? That's an issue, because remember, the baby boomers were huge. I mean, that was a major chunk around the world, the baby boomers. Remember this, right? And they were conditioned into a pattern that they had to come right out of starvation, like a very dark period of time. So between the wars and the starvations and the diseases, so they had a certain way of living. We must accept that. Why? Because we are made to survive. And so whatever survival tactics that they came up with as far as man, it enabled them to survive. Then you go to, Generation X. Here we are, right? I think I'm part of that. And what was that? That was survival of the fittest. How we can ride a bike with bare feet, how we can climb trees in bare feet, how, doing all the certain things, make sure you're home when that light comes on. Very trusting in Father, Mother, God, that we're just going to explore this beautiful awareness of their world. I don't know where you grew up. Today, I'm sitting at a desk. I was telling Joel, the producer, H Train, I'm sitting at a desk that I remember so well, being in 4th grade and learning a ruler when my father was an industrial arts teacher. So learning that ruler, I better know, 30 seconds and 64ths, because that was very important, especially when you're cutting wood. And so I wasn't the only one. My brothers and sisters had to go through it too. But I remember sitting right here at this beautiful desk, and he made it. He made this beautiful thing so that we all had somewhere to either do our bills, our homework, and it brought back a lot of acceptance and a lot of memories that I have to accept, but I can heal them going, oof, that was a trouble. But you know what? I honor, because if he didn't do that, I would have never known really the ruler. I would have known the basics up to, your 8th patterns, but not anything higher, right? Because back then when you had home ec and you had shop, they taught you, but they taught you all the way to the 8s, right? The 1/8, the 3/8, they taught you in the 8s. They didn't even teach your centimeters or meters. I mean, we didn't have the metric system really until, I want to say, high school back then. And then they were starting to introduce that. Acceptance again. They tried to throw the metric system in the United States. Everywhere else in the world is the metric system. Why did the United States accept the metric system? We still haven't really. If you think about it, we're still using lineal. We have not moved. Now, you can find, I believe, I'm not a mechanic, so, if I'm wrong, just let me know. But I believe in the mechanics, they now have like different metrics in their tools. And I became aware of that. And I realized that now they're putting like liters and lineals, they put the volumes in both. And so it's really an amazing thing to watch the evolution come about, so that we are uniformly accepting everything from around the world, cultures, how many of the melting pot that, the Statue of Liberty represents. At first, it was purely, Europeans, right? There's a lot of Europeans that went into Ellis, for that. The acceptance of bringing in, right? A lot. Again, I'm only, 2nd generation. My mother was born first, but my grandfather was not born here. So I'm only really 2nd generation born here in the United States from my ancestries. Now, it was a little different time, obviously, because those who came, beforehand honored and accepted the free country, the freedom that we had here and our rights. But I don't know necessarily if the understanding is still there of our forefathers, which we don't have to accept it, right? There it is. Why were we accepting not being able to speak Italian, right? That was a judgment by man. We should have been, but no, my grandfather said, this is not the country. You will not speak it. Acceptance. We weren't accepted to speak it. We were only accepted to speak English. See how far back it goes? Our lineage represents things in our life that we've accepted because it just was by man. It just was, right? And I'm sure if you guys dig back into some of your inner child right now, because anything inner child wise that you've accepted or conditioned to accept, and now you're 40 years out, 50 years out, however old you are out, you're questioning yourself. Is this still existing today? Where is my survival mechanism for that? We got to go on another break. I'm MJ. You're listening to the World of Conscious Positive Thinking on mbrradio.us. And we're going to go take a quick break, and then we'll be back. And we're going to complete our acceptance today.
Well, I've never been to Spain, but I kinda like the music. See, the ladies are insane there, and they sure know how to use it. They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it. Well, I've never been to England, but I kinda like the Beatles. Ooh, I headed for Las Vegas, only made it out to Needles. Can you feel it? Must be near it. Feels so good, feels so good. Well, I've never been to heaven, but I've been to Oklahoma. Oh, they tell me I was born there, but I really don't remember. In Oklahoma, not Arizona. What does it matter? What does it matter? Well, I've never been to Spain, but I kinda like the music. Say the ladies are insane there, and they sure know how to use it. They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it. They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it.
I think that worked. That was good, man. Like that? That was a great take.
Yes, that's fine.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Okay. So we's back. So is Jewel. Hello, baby Jewel.
Sorry, when you refresh and come back, it changes the layout. Sorry about that, MJ.
I'm good. I have, because my Wi-Fi here just trying to get back into a home, and I'm so thankful, Joel, that you're helping me. So it is what it is, and they have to accept what it is, right? They have to accept it.
Empathy.
There you go, right? I understand Wi-Fi, right? Man, if man makes it, it's going to burn. I mean, I always tell people, if it floats, it sinks. If it flies in the air, it comes down. If it's electrical, it'll stop. I mean, that's Murphy's Law. So plan B, accept, and it's okay. It is really okay, because you're not going to stop it. And we have to remember that. God built the tree, and look how beautiful they become unless somebody diseases it or cuts it down. Yeah. Acceptance. We accept all that is, right? We accept the I am present. We accept the faith, the Christ-like faith within all, right? I am the I am you, you are me. We are all one. That's an acceptance, right? It's no, I don't accept that behavior. Well, then raise our brothers and sisters up, right? Then we raise them and we ask them, why are we so angry? Why are we so depressed? Why are we so egoic? We ask them, how can I help you? And they might get angry. Of course, they might get angry, but who cares if they get angry, right? If you are on the highest positive vibration to help somebody and they get angry at you, that's on them, right? You're not maliciously attacking them. Hey, what you're doing is nope, we're not. We're consciously asking, wow, is that a belief pattern? Is that from society or conditioned? You know, maybe it's plausible we can maybe think like this, or maybe it's plausible that maybe we can think like that. No, Ozzy, there's not an acceptance. There's an acceptance, ACC, not an EX. No, you see, that EX there means no. When you have an accepting, that means no, there's an exception to every rule. This is an accepting. There's not an exception to every rule. We accept what they do, not accept. Accept, let me get that straight, folks. Thank you, Ozzy, for the awareness. When we accept, it's ACCEPT. We are wanting. This is something that we want. We've accepted it. When we have an accept, that means no, we're not accepting that. That's a wrong. So EXCEPT is not. That's the negative attribute of exceptions, right? We're going to accept everybody except you. No. Thank you so much for that awareness. I love it, because here we are back to grammars, which I was never good at as a kid. Reading and grammar was not my thing. In fact, you can ask anybody in my family or my friends when I say, here, read this.
Is anybody good at that?
I don't know, Joel, but I sure as heck, you give me science and math and woo, I'm a wizard. You give me grammar and English, I'll screw it up every time, and I get that. It's okay. I've accepted
they say
who
that
I am.
you're either good at math or you're good at English. You're not good at both of them. That's the rule of thumb.
Yeah, unless you got one of those genius brains, and I don't. That H train left me a long time ago with that genius gifted brain. Maybe in another lifetime I'll have it. But if you've ever, I know two people very dear to me who have gifted. One has a gifted brain, and the other one has a bilateral gifted brain. And you would think, oh my God, they know everything. And they do. They're like, damn it. They're like walking encyclopedias. And whenever you stumble going, oh my God, there's a fact there, bam, they're on it. And I loved working with them. And I worked with them for about 6 years. And I still love them. And anytime I need something, especially in my spiritual realm, man, they have gone through theologies like nuts. And they're good at it. But guess what they don't have, Joel? Guess what they don't have?
Empathy?
Do I guess? No. Pretty much. They don't have the social skills they can't, they're like a Sheldon Cooper. That genius brain does not understand sarcasm, that doesn't understand emotion. The emotional side of the brain isn't there on gifted people who are so gifted in genius brain. They don't understand it. And then as society as a whole, we don't accept them, right? It's an accept them. No, we must accept them because they hold such, they're like Tesla's, Einstein's, Rife. They're the brainiacs, Edison. Like these are the, I can hear Sheldon Cooper going, no, not Edison, but they are like these people with those beautiful gifted brains. And a lot of them are the beautiful autism. If you've ever sat and listened to somebody who has autism, the knowledge that they have and the endemic memory is mind blowing. It is a wow movement. It really is. And I sit there and am in awe how brilliant those folks are. And they, we can label them as man, they're on the spectrum or no, they're flipping genius. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. He was wackadoodle crazy, but he was so gifted, so divinely gifted. God gave him such a beautiful brain to make such beautiful music. Come on. Check, there was Tchaikovsky too with music. I mean, there is some of the most beautiful people. Again, have we accepted them how they are? Absolutely. And understand that beautiful brain. We need it because they're the ones who have English and grammar, not me. But we have a purpose. So don't ever forget, even though we're not born or gifted and we might not be that lucky, we forever will be here on a life purpose and soul purpose. And one of the things on our soul purpose is we must accept. And if we don't accept them for who they are and what they are, then we end up having to come back and fulfill that time slot yet again. Does that make sense? So, that being said, you're listening to MBR Radio, and we're going to take another really short break, and then we'll come back and we're gonna wrap this up and tell you how to flip the pattern. I'm MJ, and we'll be right back right after this commercial.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Here we are. We're back again. We're back again fighting Wi-Fi, but we accepted it already. So we're going to round this out, and then we're going to close this out early. So, MJ, how do we figure this out? I'm in yellow today. Look, I even brought my yellow glasses. We're going to dive right into our solar plexus. This is how we're going to handle. The next time you get angry with what somebody says and you can't accept what they said, you're going to shut this beautiful, beautiful God gift that they gave you as a voice in your mouth. You're going to step back. You're going to breathe in and out your nose. We've had the breathing course, right? Because why? Breathing in and out of the nose slows that thinking level of attack. It slows down that ego. And we're going to go into our solar plexus. How deep is this judgment? How deep is this that we can't accept it? Now, find a time in life, in this lifetime. Let's find a time when this exact energy, this exact thing hit. When we find that exact energy that is on the same parallel, how old were we? Where were we? And then ask yourself, is this the same energy as this? Is this the same energy as this? And look how far back you have now created an acceptance pattern almost your whole life. Because you'll get to a point where it's either going to be in a school where you had to be in the clique, right? With your social peers, or you had to do it in your community, right? I grew up Catholic. God forbid I did something wrong. I nailed on my freaking knuckles with rulers. So acceptance today, that's not accepted, right? It's not. It was accepted then. Now there has to be an exception. There's the word, my beautiful husband, Ozzy. Exception. Is there an exception to that rule? No. No, there's not. So now we understand. Now as we go back, now if you're like, MJ, I can't find this pattern. Now what do I do? But I already know I'm angry, but I can't find the same thing that made me angry. Okay. That in our spiritual world or in our metaphysical, now we have what we call cellular data memory or cellular data trauma. These are life lessons that are brought into our life when we come in. Remember, we wrote our plan with Father, Mother, God to get here. They've accepted it. So we are all learning, and we must accept this. We must accept the people who we asked to be a catalyst to make these triggers, make these angers, make these resentments. Why? Because we have to learn to balance and help them balance. This is the same scenario. It is not a coincidence in life that these people come in with us as friends, family, or co-workers, or acquaintances, or strangers off the street. You have met these people before. Are you sourcing that energy of divine? Are you sourcing that beautiful Christ-like energy that says, I am your brothers and sisters, and I accept you. Father, forgive them, right? And Father, forgive my part. Because they might be learning a life lesson as you, and they must accept it as well. It is a practice, and I'm not going to tell you it's easy. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, that's easy. No. Anytime that somebody tugs on our emotional train, guess what? Our ego wants to go, nope, and there it is. That self-damnation that wants our ego wants to think that it's saving us, and it's not. Because we're going to have to learn this. So if our ego steps in, and our judgment steps in of what we've been conditioned by man to do, then we're not going to learn it. We're going to have to just rip that Band-Aid off and say, I love you no matter what. I accept you no matter what. It's okay. That's your lesson. That's not my trauma. Father, Mother, God, Archangel, Michael, come in and sever this. With love and I honor, right? But I know that it's not part of an all-around goodness. And when it's not good in a 360 circle, then we have things we have to interpret. We have to flip patterns to make them the positive of that 360 scale. I implore you, if you can, right there, the world of conscious positive thinking, right there. It's at the bottom of the screen. You see it? The world of conscious positive thinking at mbradio.us. You can email me. Nobody has to know. You can sign it anonymously. If you don't want to come on the show or call in, get this, because a lot of our world is changing, and we must accept this change. No matter how grand or how little, change has to happen. We all have to, there's the cup, we have to meet in the middle. You feel your half, I feel my half. We have to come to meet. That's what our forefathers who had this country, that's what they came to do. They came to try to meet in the middle. How vital it was, how grotesque it may have been. These were all life lessons that we have learned by history from. If we're not learning history because society has not accepted history, that's an issue. That's a major issue, because you already see that society has banned a lot of stuff in libraries. They banned it on the social medias. They have been banning things that are history, that are learning life lessons. How else are we to know, right? From our baby boomers to Generation X, now we have the millennials, and I don't know what the next one is after the millennials, but now we have this fresh new look that they are going to relive what we already did in history, right? We are beings of patterns. We are beings of copying. We are beings of not being ourselves because of an acceptance of conditioned belief patterns. We need to flip them. We need to step back. We need to put our yellow glasses on, dig inside that beautiful sun, and see things in a brighter, higher, happier, and I'm going to use the word gay, because growing up, that is like gay. It meant it is the most happiest place. And I know you can't use that word today because man's ego has conditioned not to accept that. Maybe that's where they got the name. Maybe that's where the men got the name, because they were happier within their new body being. That's where the name gay, right? Who knows? I've accepted it. Hopefully they've accepted it, right? Put on those yellow glasses like Janis Joplin. Everything's great. Everything's okay and everything is fine. If you allow somebody not to be okay and fine and you start judging them, tap back in, because it's going to come back on you. Got it? Hopefully we've made some sense here. Hopefully, if you're not accepted, the last thing I want to talk about real quick, even in your 50s and 60s, right? Even when you're up in this age bracket, if you haven't learned about a domineering force inside of a group nuclei, and you haven't learned to say, that's just them and I don't need part of that, and step away, then you are going to be forcibly having to accept them who they are every time you want to associate with that group, right? Use this beautiful thing, right? Am I accepting, or if I don't need to accept it? I don't need to accept negative people in my group. I step away. I told you, as you gain a higher positive consciousness, you're going to lose a lot of your friends. You're going to lose a lot of people because their judgment and their ego is still not there. It's okay. I've accepted them with love, right? I'm okay. But I reach, right? You reach a certain level where I love me. And if you don't love me, it's okay. It's okay. So if you're in something in a group that somebody hurt you when you're traveling, or you go within this group, step out for a little bit. Give yourself and love yourself enough to step out. It's okay. They can say whatever. Accept who you are. Accept the higher consciousness. Accept the higher vibration of life, right? And then it doesn't matter if they don't call or say hi, or they're still in their 60s and they want to defriend people. Pretty sad. Pretty sad. And it's not, what's that? Melody says, oh, let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. World would be a better place now, wouldn't it, Melody? Maybe that was an ego. Maybe that wasn't an ego statement. Who knows? But whatever it is, I would hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Not a problem. I do believe that we have Templars. I said that in episode 1, that the military in themselves, if you went into the military, which is what this station's all about, you went in either as a Templar or an Archangel with a sword. All the Archangels have a sword. So there, at some point, there has to become a balance. And there will always be a balance. Why? Because these beautiful people who are on this veteran station, they know what it's like to try to create that balance by man's ego. 2 men of 2 different countries, or maybe multiple countries, wanting to have war and put us there, the Templars. Yeah. Let's change that mindset, right? Flip patterns. We're flipping them. It's not a kumbaya. It's a positive way of thinking. Your ego is what makes you angry. Your judgment is what makes you angry. It doesn't have to be. That means that you haven't learned to excel in a higher vibration. You will. Sometime, some way, you're going to learn it. We all do. How many times are you going to come back into the same pattern in life without learning it? Peace. You know? Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Pope John Paul I. We all love them. They hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Probably. There's a purpose. There's a purpose for every beautiful human being on the face of this earth, whether we like it or not. Folks, I love it. I love that people can come and make comments and make beautiful awarenesses of how we are in life. Accept it. Accept who you are. Accept what you are, and love who you are. Because nobody else had to live that life path but you. Nobody does. And you, when Archangel Gabriel blows that horn, Father, Mother, God is going to call you out. Nobody else needs that. Thou shalt not judge. There it is. May the angels carry you with peace, love, grace, joy, happiness, and abundance of what it is that you desire most. My name is MJ. This is the World of Conscious Positive Thinking. And we'll be back next week, Monday, right here on this beautiful station, MBRradio.us. Follow us. Go ahead, I dare you. Many blessings from me to you and my friend Joel, who's sitting behind those controls today. Thank you. See you next Monday.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.